everybody, JC here with another episode of T&I Pop Talk. And on the agenda for this week's episode, I want to talk about the new Star Wars The Force Awakens trailer, as well as the new CBS series Supergirl. And then I also want to tell you about a contest I'm going to be having for a $200 store credit to Big Bad Toy Store. It's also Halloween week, and so I'd be interested to hear what you guys are going to be dressing up as for Halloween. For myself, I'm looking at a Kylo Ren costume. I'm going to use my new Force FX Kylo Ren lightsaber, and I've got a Kylo Ren mask. Still kind of putting it together, but that's what I'm shooting for Halloween this year. But definitely would love to hear what you guys have planned, and even if you've got images or what have you, I'd love to see that as well. So anyway, last week the new trailer for the Star Wars Force Awakens, the final trailer for the upcoming movie, aired, and everybody, I think, is super excited for this movie, or pretty much everybody, and I'm sure all of you have seen it by now, if not multiple times. Probably you've bought your tickets. Tickets went on sale last week as well. You guys basically crashed a lot of the sites that were selling the tickets, like Fandango. So, you know, breaking all kinds of records and everything. So definitely the excitement is high for this movie. But the big question I had after watching the new trailer, and I'm sure many of you as well did, is where is Luke Skywalker? What has happened to Luke? We know he's in the movie. You know, it was announced a while back that he's going to be in the movie. His name is featured on the movie poster. His picture, he's nowhere to be seen on the movie poster, but his name is definitely there. But other than maybe one brief glimpse in one of the trailers, we've seen no trace of Luke Skywalker. So what's going on with him? Obviously, they're trying to keep things under wrap with him. Something big's going on, and it's going to probably be a major plot point in the movie. But the question is, what exactly? Is he going to get killed? Has he been killed? Is he turning to the dark side? Is he possibly Kylo Ren? That's some of the theories that have been going on. So I just wanted to go over some things in the trailer that are kind of established, and then kind of give you my thoughts about what's going on with Luke. Now, obviously, you know, these are just my thoughts. I don't have any inside knowledge, and if I did, I wouldn't share it with you and ruin the movie. This is simply just my speculation based on what we've seen in the trailers and stuff. So, first of all, establishing a timeline for this movie. Exactly how many years has it been since Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens? Now, I don't think there's been anything officially to say that, but going by the Star Wars prequel comic from Marvel Comics called Shattered Empire, which just ended last week, the final issue just came out as a 4-issue series from Marvel, and it is considered canon. It is official canon to the movies and everything. So in that, it's we're introduced to Poe Dameron's parents. At the time of this story, which takes place right after the Battle of Endor and Return of the Jedi, Poe Dameron's parents have a newborn child named Poe. So we know Poe is a baby at the time of basically the end of Return of the Jedi. Parents are members of the Rebel Alliance, and they fight alongside Luke, Leia, and Han in the comic. But from that, you know, and Poe is an established character in The Force Awakens. We've seen images and seen him featured in the trailers. He's got multiple figures already out for him, so he seems to be a major player in the movie. And in the movie, it looks like he's probably in his late 20s, early 30s. So going by that, I'm going to say that this movie probably takes place roughly 30 years after the events of the Battle of Endor and Return of the Jedi. 30-ish, give or take. So that being said, some of the things that we know is we know that things basically have not gone the way that we anticipated at the end of Return of the Jedi. It wasn't a big happy ending with the Rebel Alliance reestablishing the Republic and the Luke Skywalker bringing back the Jedi Order. In fact, it seems like no Jedi have returned and have basically become the stuff of stories and folklore. And I infer that from the trailer where we see Han Solo basically telling the new characters in the movie, Finn and Rey, that, you know, the stories, the legends are all true about the Force and the dark side and everything. So, you know, like I said, from that I take that the Jedi are not an established thing in the galaxy anymore, and basically not much more than just a legend, which would say that Luke was not successful for whatever reason in bringing the Jedi back And in fact, Luke himself maybe has been absent for whatever reason, and not an established, well-established, known person in the modern times. Now, why is that? So, other things that we know from the trailer is we know that Kylo Ren is some kind of Sith of some type. He's got a lightsaber. We see him controlling the Force. I don't know if he's a truly established Sith or what, but he has some kind of, Force abilities, and he has, the red lightsaber, and he also apparently is some kind of Darth Vader worshiper. So, we see him basically, talking to the charred out Vader helmet. At least I'm pretty sure. I mean, it's kind of one of those scenes where, it's possible maybe they use some trickery, but it looks like, at least from the trailer, that that's Kylo Ren talking to Vader's helmet. Now, how did Kylo Ren get Vader's charred out helmet from Endor? I don't know. It also seems like Kylo Ren is not just one person. We see in one of the scenes in the trailer that, Kylo Ren is standing there with a bunch of other guys dressed similarly. Now, I've heard rumors and such that, these guys are called the Knights of Ren, and, basically it's an order that basically worships Vader for some reason. That begs the question of, does Luke Skywalker have some kind of connection with these guys? I don't think Luke Skywalker is Kylo Ren. We've seen some images of Kylo without his mask. We know there is an actual actor playing Kylo Ren that's not Mark Hamill. So I don't think that Luke Skywalker is actually Kylo Ren, but that doesn't mean that Luke Skywalker doesn't have some connection to Kylo Ren or this Knight of Ren, whatever they are. Other things that we know, we see Luke briefly in one of the trailers where we see him putting his hands up to R2-D2. At least I'm about 99% sure that's Luke. We see the robotic hand from his hand being cut off, and obviously he's with R2-D2. So I'm pretty sure that's Luke Skywalker in that one scene. And he's on basically he's surrounded by fire, as we can see from that image. Now, there are other scenes in the trailers where we see the Empire or the First Order and Kylo Ren attacking a city or something, and the city is essentially on fire. And it kind of looks like this may be all taking place in the same area. So that makes me wonder if, Luke is not captured, or Luke is somehow connected with this attack at this point. Maybe this is a flashback scene that we're seeing. I don't know, but I'm suspecting that this all takes place with this, this attack and the fire and everything is all taking place at the same time. So that kind of leads me to believe that, again, there's some kind of connection between Kylo Ren and the Empire and Luke Skywalker. We also see that Finn somehow gets a hold of Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber, which we last saw falling to the depths of Cloud City in Empire Strikes Back. So how does he come about getting Anakin's lightsaber? I have no idea. We do see a brief scene where it looks like someone is handing off Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber to somebody else, and just from that scene, the hands that are, doing the handoff looks like an older female handing it off to a younger female. So is that Princess Leia maybe handing it off to Rey, one of the other new characters in the movie, or is it something entirely different? I don't know. But that's definitely something that's kind of interesting. And then how does Finn end up getting his hands on it and using it to fight Kylo Ren in that scene? Another thing I thought was interesting is in that scene where we see Kylo Ren and Rey fighting, we see an unmasked Kylo Ren from behind. And I couldn't help but notice the similarities of how he looks, the shadow of him and everything, looked to Anakin Skywalker in Revenge of the Sith. So, one of the things that was established in the prequels is that Anakin wasn't really naturally born. He was basically created by Palpatine, or at least partly created, with some genetic tinkering of some kind. And so, if that could happen once, who's to say it couldn't happen again? Could these Knights of Ren be clones of some kind of Anakin Skywalker? I don't know. Now finally we got one more scene where we see Leia almost in tears being hugged by Han Solo. We don't really know what that's in reference to. It could be anything from just the rebels being attacked to one of the kids, either Rey or Finn, being injured or something, or could be something more sinister like them learning about Luke Skywalker maybe being a bad guy or being killed. I don't know. Now finally, we do have, even though it's not an official image, it's a leaked image, a set image of Mark Hamill in what appears to be, classic Jedi robes. Obi-Wan definitely has a look of Obi-Wan Kenobi to him. But we don't really know how that plays out in the film. Could that be part of a flashback scene? Could that be, who knows? So I wouldn't necessarily assume because we see him look like Obi-Wan Kenobi that means he becomes a wise old Jedi who is mentoring other Jedi or so forth. Again, we just don't really know, but there's not enough information there to be certain. But my theory is that definitely there's going to be a major plot twist with Luke on par with, Vader revealing that he's Luke's father. I'm foreseeing something along those lines coming about with Luke Skywalker. Whether, it's him being a bad guy, whether it's him being killed, whether it's him being responsible for this new empire or the return of Sith or what have you, I don't know for sure. But I definitely think we're going to see something play out over the course of the next 3 movies with regards to that. And I don't think it's necessarily going to be a good thing for Luke. I think Luke has maybe had some issues that he's been dealing with as far as the dark side goes. So that's just my theory. I could be totally wrong. I don't know. But I definitely would be interested to hear what you guys think. I'm sure you guys have your own theories. And so definitely would be interested to hear. So leave a comment. Let us know what you think and what you think of my theory. Okay, so moving on to Supergirl. So at the time of this recording, the new series just aired last night on CBS. And I gotta say, I wasn't overly impressed with it. It wasn't horrible. I didn't have any problems with, the actress playing Supergirl. I thought she did an okay job. I think she definitely looked good. The costume designs were decent. Special effects were not fabulous, but they weren't horrible either. But my main problem was I just thought that the plot was rushed. The character development seemed very rushed. And comparing it to shows like The Flash or The Arrow on CW, I just did not think the show was that good, story-wise. I hope it improved. I definitely think it has potential. One of the things I didn't like is I didn't like all the references, the vague references to Superman. My feeling is they're not going to really be able to feature Superman in this show because he's on the big screen, and Warner Brothers and DC don't seem to like to have their main characters on both the small screen and the big screen at the same time. We saw that conflict with Bruce Wayne and Batman not appearing on Smallville, and probably is why we didn't really see Clark Kent become Superman in Smallville until the very end of the last episode of the series. So I don't really think we're going to see Superman featured that much, but I could definitely do without him being referenced as like the big guy or your brother or your cousin or blah 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 blah. I mean, like he was referenced multiple times in the first episode, but yet really only kind of in a vague third person type way. And so it's like either put him in the show or don't, but quit trying to tease him like that. Because, again, I don't think he's going to be really featured in the show. I definitely think it would be better if they could make this show somehow connected to the other DC Universe shows like Arrow and Flash. But being that it's on a different network, I don't think that's going to be the case. I could be wrong. I had heard originally that it would be connected and then heard things that it's not. But my feeling is from watching the first episode, it really has no connection with Flash and Arrow. And that's kind of disappointing to me as well. I also don't think it's a very good time slot for the show. They got it airing on Mondays at 8 p.m. So it's basically competing with another DC comic-based show in Gotham, which airs at the same time and day on the Fox network. So you've got basically two shows competing for the same demographic. Now I know a lot of people, nowadays watch stuff on DVR and on demand and stuff. So you can still watch both shows, but I think when shows don't get a good ratings, a lot of viewers when they actually air, that hurts them. And again, I would be interested to hear your thoughts. Did you watch it? Did you like it? What did you think? So on and so forth. So leave a comment, let us know. But for me, I think the show's got a lot of room for improvement, and I hope it does improve. But if it doesn't, I really just don't see it lasting that long. Now finally, as I mentioned, I'm going to be doing that contest for a $200 store credit. So what you have to do, now first of all, originally I was going to give away one of these bad boys, and this is the 6-inch TIE Fighter from Hasbro, the Force Awakens 6-inch TIE Fighter. If you didn't check out my review of this, then I highly recommend that you do. This is a pretty cool toy, costs about $160, and you can see this thing is quite large. So I was going to give one of these away, but if I did that, I was only going to be able to do the contest for people within the United States. So I decided to switch it and do a $200 store credit. Big Bad Toy Store will carry this item. So if you want to buy it with your $200 store credit, you can. Or you can basically buy whatever you want. The contest is open to everybody. You do have to be 18 years or older. And if you're not 18 or older, then you need to get your parents' permission. So what you have to do to enter, I'm going to make you work a little bit. But, like I said, it's for a $200 store credit, so, not making it work that hard. But basically, you got to subscribe to my YouTube channel, which I assume you probably already have if you're watching this. But if you haven't, you need to subscribe to the channel. And then you either need to follow me on Twitter, my Twitter account, my personal Twitter account, or you got to send me a friend request on my personal Facebook page. And there's a link to both of those in the video description below. And yes, so you do either have to be on Twitter or Facebook. If you're not, then I'm sorry, you can't be entered in the contest. But, if you're not, it takes 2 seconds to open one of those accounts, and you can open it up, enter, and then close it if you want after the contest is over, if you really don't want to be on Twitter or Facebook. But, like I said, it only takes 2 seconds if you're not already on there. But what you got to do is you got to follow me either on Facebook or Twitter, and then there'll be a link to this video on both of those accounts, and what you need to do is just share the video. Share it either on your Facebook page or share it on Twitter, retweet it on Twitter, and then you'll be entered into the contest. So we'll run the contest till the end of November, so you'll have the prize in time for Christmas. We'll have the drawing at the beginning of December, on like December 1st, and then I'll contact the winner and let them know they've won. I'll also announce it once I've contacted them, so that you guys know who won the contest. So, like I said, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. You have to work a little bit, but nothing too major. So that's it. Like I said, I'd love to hear what you guys are doing for Halloween as far as costumes. I love Halloween. It's one of my favorite holidays of the year. Of course, I want to hear your theories on both Star Wars and what you thought about Supergirl. So until next time, definitely, I will catch you guys later.